Region 2 gets Gold Board Branch, 11th Annual Rupununi Expo held, and new mining school and training center to come on stream. You're watching Weekly Digest, a government information agency program that keeps you updated on what government has been doing. With the details, I'm your host, Vindy Tumeshwar. Guyanese will now benefit from a new fully resuscitated National Family Commission, which aims to improve and promote stable and cohesive families, ensuring greater recognition of the role of the family unit. The main objectives are to strengthen the capacity of the family to carry out the basic functions of production, reproduction, and socialization, advocate for and empower families, particularly those comprising single parents and with disabled or dependent members, ensure that the basic needs of all families such as health, nutrition, and shelter are met, promote greater parental responsibilities by strengthening the role of the father, and strengthening the fundamental base of the family.
Our human resources are our most valuable asset, and therefore it is important that we recognize that the social services we provide to our people are of utmost importance. The work of this commission is therefore fundamental towards working to further improve the social and moral fabric of our society. I am aware that the work of this commission will reach throughout the length and breadth of Guyana. In Guyana today, there are many single-parent families headed more primarily by women, with all due respect to our men. Of course, we are all aware that the family is the nucleus of any society, and it is therefore important for us to recognize the importance of the role of this commission. In our homes, the supportive role of the family cannot be overemphasized.
Over the next year, the Commission will be looking at 4 broad thematic areas. These include advocacy, public education, partnership building, and monitoring and evaluation.
The family is a fundamental unit of society which is protected by the human rights law, and as such, every member of society is entitled to be a part of a family unit, which provides for the financial, emotional, and material needs, and serves as the basis for their personal development and advancement.
A director will be established with the existing resource agencies so that the public will be more aware of the people and agencies that are responsible for dealing with issues relating to the family.
Our task, more or less, is to ensure that we advocate, that we promote, that we seek to create the environment in which focus could be brought to how these needs can be met by the various agencies and authorities to ensure that those needs are met.
The commissioners include Reverend Dr. Kwame Gilbert, Trinetta Scott, Alima Nasir, Bibi Hazina Ghani, Cyril Belgrave, Charles Quinton, Dr. Vindhya Prasad, Terence Montrose, Pandit Rabindra Prasad, Pamela Knott, Reverend Patrick Finlay, Sharon Harper, Rajkumari Singh, Terry Thomas, and Yvonne Stevenson. In response to the growing needs of the extractive industries, the Ministry of Natural Resources and the Environment and its agency, the Guyana Geology and Mines Commission, registered the Guyana Mining School and Training Center Incorporated, whose programs will be launched in January.
It is anticipated that through the mining school, not only will the extractive activities of the gold, minerals, and oil and gas be looked at, but also processing and value added. Another area that has to be explored is having some aspects of the courses carried out in the field and the introduction of new technology.
At the end of the day, we want to lift our game. At the end of the day, we want to improve our profitability, our sustainability, and to make the industry and to make the sector proud. There are new areas, and there's absolutely no reason why we ought not to get it right and do it in a manner that will bring about maximum returns to our people, and at the end of the day, lead to greater prosperity for all the people of Guyana.
This initiative is not only being supported by Canada, but the governments of Trinidad and Tobago, the United States of America, China, and Colombia have also pledged their support. It has been recognized that the entire extractive sector holds tremendous potential for Guyana's development. However, to optimize these potentials, investment must be made in human resource.
Through training and skills development, Guyanese interested in the extractive sectors will be better positioned to benefit from opportunities that will be created as the extractive sectors in Guyana realize their potential. This will permit the development of the industry through the provision of technical certification and skills development that is needed for job creation.
The Ministry of Natural Resources and the Environment and the Guyana Geology and Mines Commission are currently working with the College of the North Atlantic and the Fisheries and Marine Institute of Memorial University of Newfoundland to develop a curriculum that is adaptable to Guyana's extractive industries.
The human resource capacity of the Guyana Defense Force was boosted as it welcomed another batch of officers who completed the basic recruit course. 277 ranks successfully completed the course after 16 weeks of intense training at the Colonel John Military School in Takama, Base Camp Stevenson in Temeri, and Colonel John Mitchell Jungle and Amphibious Training School in Macaura.
At all times, you have to conduct yourself in such a manner that you will shine before the people of Guyana, for them to recognize your good works and to have respect and admiration for the Guyana Defense Force. You have to anchor or fasten your conduct on the values and standards of the Guyana Defense Force. In life, values play a very important role. Our values influence how we think. And how we think determines how we act. And how we act determines our destiny.
Ranks were reminded that they were entering the GDF at a time when there is greater scrutiny on the force, and were urged to carry out their functions with integrity, loyalty, discipline, and a sense of duty.
You must act responsibly. You must have respect for the law. You must have respect for others. Your conduct must be correct. And you must have appropriate social behavior.
Ranks were reminded that they were entering the GDF at a time when there is greater scrutiny on the force, and were urged to carry out their functions with integrity, loyalty, discipline, and a sense of duty. The administration has invested huge sums in the education system, particularly in ensuring school children have a conducive environment. Investments in school buildings have by no means been restricted to the coast, since the hinterland regions have modern facilities at the nursery, primary, and secondary levels.
Recently, in Deep South Rupununi Region 9, the Minister of Local Government and Regional Development, Ganga Prasad, and Permanent Secretary Colin Crowell officially commissioned several schools, while some were rehabilitated.
What we just witnessed as an important activity for any regional program, and it's a manifestation of the People's Progressive Party civic policy of not only constructing new schools, but also that we maintain and rehabilitate our existing schools.
The Sholinab or Mukushi Primary School was rehabilitated at a cost of $3.9 million.
On behalf of the pupils of Mukushi Primary School, I would like to say thanks to the government in rehabilitating our school. I want to assure you that we will work towards our goal and our motto, which is we strive for excellence. Already we have some children on scholarship in Georgetown as well as St. Ignatius. We are working hard, and then, as I said, I want to assure that we will work harder as teachers. With the help of the government, I want to say that we will be happy and we will do our utmost best. And with our school uniform, I want to say thanks also.
Residents of Sholinab were pleased to witness the handing over of their renovated primary school.
Government for rehabilitating the building. We have been suffering for a long time, and now I think we're much more comfortable in this new building.
The Awarenal Village Nursery School was rehabilitated at a cost of $2.5 million.
I must thank the present government for taking our needs into consideration. That for the past 3 years I was preparing work plan, and every year I was putting in our needs for the nursery school. For example, like recoating of the school and the walkway, and installing security lights for the school. So I must thank the present government for all that they have done for us.
Government has been working to have students in the hinterland have the same opportunity as those on the coast to a quality education.
There's more of the Weekly Digest to come. Stay tuned.
Do you know that because of confidence in the PPPC government's economic development policy since 1992, close to 12 new commercial banks have been opened in various parts of the coastal regions to better serve their growing customer base? Do you know 3 commodities continue to contribute significantly to the economy? Sugar, whose output increased from a mere 130,000 tons in 1990 to 237,000 tons in 2011. Rice from 90,000 tons in 1990 to 402,000 tons. Gold decorations from 59,000 ounces in 1991 to 363,000 ounces in 2011, and bauxite from 1.3 million tons in 1991 to 1.8 million tons last year. Do you know working people have benefited from the minimum wage rising by about 765% of the 1991 level, and coupled with that, the tax threshold has increased dramatically in the same period from $48,000 per year in 1991 to $600,000 per year this year. Do you know because of the PPPC's macroeconomic policies and prudent management of the economy, Guyana has maintained an economic growth rate of 5% from 2006 to 2011, the most consistent and highest among the Caribbean nations community.
To heighten awareness of the HIV/AIDS epidemic and to encourage safe behavior, the Ministry of Education and the Peace Corps launched the YES Youth Educators Safeguarding Our Workforce project.
The project has 3 ultimate goals: to build the capacity of the in-school youth, remove risky behavior and replace them with healthy behavior, and to achieve 0 new HIV infections from in-school youth. To this end, 41 youth educators have been trained to conduct informative HIV/AIDS sessions in schools.
It's very important that as you sit here, you internalize the tremendous responsibility that we're placing on your shoulders. You are now our ambassadors. You are going out into the trenches, I should say, to try to address an issue that is of national significance. And I think that if you can appreciate that and treat it as such, and recognize that that this is a call to serve, that you are in essence giving very valuable service to this nation.
The youth educators have been provided with the relevant training skills to conduct these exercises. Among other things, they have been taught the basics of HIV and AIDS.
Today we stand saying yes. Yes to 0 new HIV infection, especially among the in-school youth. We say yes to safeguarding our workforce, and yes, we can make a difference towards the elimination of HIV in Guyana. It is through trial and error that this great success has been birthed today and has become a reality and a sustainable program through a collaborative work with Peace Corps Guyana. Now, it is you, the YES volunteer, that will ensure that this great achievement remain in the minds of the Guyanese young people and the Guyanese population from today onwards.
Each youth educator has committed to 1 school year of service, while some have committed to working with more than 1 school.
They will then take these manuals and all of the other materials that go with it, teaching aids, teaching tools such as crossword puzzles and games, flashcards, storybooks, etc. And they will go into grades 5, 6, and Form 3 or grade 9 classrooms. Each week they will hold hour-long sessions with these students, and they will be able to build these students' capacity in so many different ways.
49.1% of all new cases of HIV that were reported to the Ministry of Health in 2012 came from youths aged 15 to 34.
Charity Region 2 continues to benefit from development services, as evident from the recent commissioning of the new Guyana Gold Board branch.
The branch located in the Alfonso and Sons Enterprise Charity Mall is expected to encourage greater gold production and provide a safe and efficient manner for the intermediation of gold in the region.
We hope that this branch will be able to meet the demands of the growing number of gold miners in this and nearby locality. Naturally, most of you would no longer have to travel to Georgetown or Artica to sell or to buy gold. The branch has all the required facilities to provide a safe and efficient manner for intermediation of gold.
The opening of the branch is the realization of a presidential and PPPC government's promise to gold miners in the region.
That we're also opening today is a special occasion too. It is also the first anniversary of the swearing of the president. And I'm quite sure he must be happy that we're able to deliver on a promise and a commitment he's made on this important day. It shows the level of commitment and us being a government that is fully committed to ensuring that when we make a promise, that we deliver those promises.
The GGB intermediates approximately 70% of all gold declared in Guyana, and it is hoped that the charity branch will do likewise with most of the gold declared in Region 2 and nearby locations.
Today is a positive move by the Guyana Gold Board, and we've been calling for this branch here a long time because there's a lot of miners that come from the Pomeroon, live in the Pomeroon, and on the Essequibo coast that mine in Cayuni, and they travel through Supanam and go through the Bokal Road and go to the Kaini. Also, there's a lot of miners that are mining in the Northwest District that travel through here. They pick up all the supplies from here and travel back and forth. And the gold number pass through here to get to Georgetown.
The growth of the commercial activity in Guyana and in Region 2 is due in large part to gold and diamond mining.
The 11th annual Rupununi Expo, an event to showcase the culture and produce of the Rupununi, continues to receive the support of government.
The event was also held to commemorate the 20th anniversary of the Rupununi Chamber of Commerce. Due to the recent electricity issue affecting the Lethem community, the event was held on December 1 and 2.
In spite of our setbacks in our community and in our organization, we strive to make this place a home where we love like true Guyanese and patriotic, willing to overcome the odds in this place to really make this place a home for everyone.
The event saw many communities and business organizations within Region 9 using the opportunity to promote their work. Amerindian Affairs Minister Pauline Sukai, who opened the event, implored villages to be partners in events such as expos so that they can understand the dynamics as it relates to investments.
It is not an easy decision to make by any member of the business community or any member or any investor to want to invest in a potential situation or an environment potential when they have to take huge risks. They have to be patient with respect to the returns that they are hoping to get, and more so that you are having to compete with another or more border towns and cities close by. The government of Guyana continue to pay attention to the development of Region 9, and that includes Lethem, the township. And while the Ministry of Amerindian Affairs have some level of direct engagement with most of the villages, if not all of the villages in this region, we have seen that more and more every year that the government intervention has been increasing.
There were also varying forms of entertainment such as cycle racing, football and volleyball competitions, horse and motor racing, followed by a Miss Rupununi pageant. The event was held under the theme Uniting Our Resources for a Secured Future.
More Guyanese continue to benefit from free medical services as the Health Ministry extends its services to vulnerable people.
Residents turned out in their numbers to be part of the free healthcare services at Independence Boulevard in All Boys Town. Among the services they benefited from were eye care testing, VIA screening, voluntary counseling and testing VCT, dental checks and extractions, and other general medical screenings.
Basically, this outreach clinic is to screen some of the patients who are out there who never went to a health center or to the hospital. So we see them here, we are able to identify them and channel them, like triaging them into the various health centers and institutions. That's one. Secondly, there's some patients who may not know that they're hypertensive patients or diabetic. So we're able to give them some kind of treatment. Most of the patients I've seen here this morning are patients who are known diabetics and hypertensives. But some of them, the new ones, never knew they are that. It is diabetes and hypertensive patients who ends up with various different kinds of complications that may allow them to be so mortally sick sometimes and cause death. So we're here to identify them this way and to also treat them a bit. The services we offer here is a general practitioner service, as well as pharmacy service, a glucometer service to check their blood sugar, their blood pressure. Across to the other side, we deal with patients who has AIDS. We counsel them. On the other side of the screen, there are patients who talk about tuberculosis. And then there are some other personnel who speak about foot diseases, about tuberculosis as well. So that we kind of cover the entire thing.
The outreach exercise is aimed at ensuring that residents from underprivileged communities benefit from medical services. Parliamentary Secretary of the Ministry of Health, Joe Hamilton, pointed to the fact that due to being financially unstable, many persons are unable to access proper healthcare services, and as such, it is the aim of the ministry to take the services to them.
Through the length and breadth of Guyana as I speak, NAPS, which is an arm of the Ministry of Health, they have had also the last 4 or 5 days VCT program in the north of the city. All right? We have just concluded massive outreach in Leg 1. So several outreaches, I could say several dozens right through the year across the length and breadth of Guyana. Not so long ago I came out of Cameron. So the regions also, they're doing outreaches. I was in Cameron the same time. Region 7 had an outreach in the Middle Mazaruni, Upper Mazaruni area. So we have determined that one of the things we would do is try to engage people in a more definitive way, giving health care. One, not just treatment, but speaking to them about lifestyle and all the other issues.
During the 2 days, the Ministry of Health served 500 persons. For 2012, the ministry has undertaken approximately 20 outreaches across the country.
Government is keen to see the completion of the Amila Falls Hydro Project, as it will alleviate the high cost of power throughout Guyana and boost the manufacturing sector.
Producing electricity with good equipment in our situation, with diesel runs at least 30 cents a kilowatt hour, 30 to 35 cents a kilowatt hour, and heavy fuel oil runs at 22 cents a kilowatt, US cents a kilowatt hour. Amila has the potential of bringing us down to about no more than 12 cents a kilowatt, US cent a kilowatt hour. So that's the drive to go to Amila.
It has been noted that there have been and will be criticisms of the $850 million project, but the Prime Minister said this was understandable.
We think that it's the way to go because of this big margin between the 12 cents per kilowatt hour that we expect from 12 cents US versus 20 to 22 on HFO and 30 to 35 maybe on diesel with light fuel oil, and this is at more or less current prices. If prices of fossil fuels goes up further, those numbers would go up proportionately.
Prime Minister Hines noted that recent mention of concerns expressed by the Inter-American Development Bank, a major funding partner, have been noted and will be addressed.
One of the major areas has to do with the IDB board being satisfied that sufficient commitments would be made and kept with respect to environmental and social impact and the avoidance with the road going in, the avoidance of negative social impact, social and environmental impact.
Government has signaled its intention to meet and address any questions or concerns stakeholders may have about the hydro project, which is due to begin construction by the middle of 2013.
During Cabinet's meeting, His Excellency Donald Rambutan and government ministers discussed several issues of national concern. These were subsequently relayed to the media. At its December 4th statutory meeting, Cabinet gave its no objections to 10 contracts in the areas of infrastructure, health, agriculture and security. Government is of the view that the two parliamentary opposition parties must receive copies of the cricket bill prior to it being tabled in the House. Additionally, a team from the Sport Ministry, led by IMC Chairman Clive Lloyd, will be engaging the three parties in a special meeting to examine the provisions of the bill.
This is in keeping with our agreement in February this year at the Interparliamentary Party Dialogue that we agreed that we would bring a cricket administration bill and constitution. The deadline for that was prior to the recess. Regrettably, that was not accomplished, but that we have now reached that point. And clearly at that meeting in February 2012, the three parties, government and the two opposition parties, agreed that there was a need for a governance framework for the administration of cricket in Guyana.
This bill was drafted taking into account all the issues that were addressed during widespread consultations that were held with the cricket boards in the three counties by the IMC, led by Lloyd. Government will also be amending the Customs Act to regulate the tax in relation to plastic beverage containers. Currently, tax only applies to imported beverage containers, not those manufactured locally. The recently published transparency report, according to government, is based on flawed opinions.
All the universities, professors, and people who study these issues do not put much credence on this, except the media all over the world make a big thing of it because it's the easiest thing to go through and just pull numbers out and throw them into the newspapers. But I ask you to consider some other documents, and that is the IMF Article 4 most recent statement on Guyana, where Guyana again has had a good report. And if we believe that the IMF does not go through extreme and intensive due diligence before it issues its statement, you're fooling yourselves. And so the IMF conclusions on Guyana, on its performance, but also about prudent fiscal management. Prudent fiscal management. So if one is to assume that TI is right, and therefore how is it that the IMF, who comes in with their top dogs and goes through every single line and analyzes your projections, your revenue, etc., how come they're congratulating Guyana on its commitment and to fiscal prudence?
Guyana is a signatory to the Inter-American Convention Against Corruption, where it has been reviewed on 3 occasions. It also recently signed on to the UN Convention Against Corruption. And with that, we've come to the end of this week's program, but before we go, here's a recap of the highlights. Region 2 gets Gold Board Branch, 11th Annual Rupununi Expo held, a new mining school and training center to come on stream. Remember that weekly digests and other government information can be found on our website www.gina.gov.ui, or you can send us your comments and suggestions at gina@gina.gov.ui. Thank you for having us in your homes, and do join us again next week for another program. Until then, be safe and have a great week ahead. Goodbye.